Well, I'm going to start with the explanation of what you're seeing on the screen. It is the technical indicator. This trading system actually has and comprises several technical indicators, which is based on the Alban 7 trading system, which is currently in Insignad on a platform that is not trading new. It has the same logic. They have the same logic. It has the same way of operating and establishing the targets, and it uses the Elliott wave principles. Yes, that is, the targets are established by Elliott waves. It does the wave count and forms the main setups, Y live, and the secondary setups based on what happens in each pivot point zone, which are generally Jackson zones not calculated, obviously, by Fibonacci. Let's see the example in Bitcoin, but first I'm going to explain what is what you're seeing on the screen, what is each zone, what is each box, and so on, and it comes out. Then we move on to the explanation. The green zones you're seeing up here are the resistance zones. This is internal resistance and external resistance. There are usually two or three. That's the last resistance, so the one that's dotted up here. So they're going to have three resistors, 1, 2, and 3. Then you're going to have three supports, internal support, external support, and the last support, and the purple zone you're seeing is the POC zone of control points. Yes, it is practically the calculation of the midday area. Always, if these calculations are compared and contrasted with the previous day, for example, see that here there is a cut that changes the day here. Here there is another cut that changes the day here. That is, each day will have its own automatic zone calculation. So this serves for what is the intraday operation within the same day. Why? Because the area is not. We change to the daily graph. For example, you will see that the system continues to automatically show which primary secondary target areas, the boxes that we are going to see later. But it's not showing the zones because the zones are interdaily. So we're going to see them from the hourly chart. For example, we're going to the 4-hour one. What about the 4-hour one? Here we are already seeing that it calculates the area, which is a little uncomfortable to see because one day it will include few 4-hour candles. Yes, that would be the day. Whenever you see a cut, it is the change of day because the calculation of the zones does it automatically. But if we change, for example, to 1 hour here, you can see a little better. If we change to 15 minutes here, it also looks a little better, and 5 minutes, etc., etc. So let's take, for example, the 15-minute Bitcoin. I'm going to be explaining to you how the system works, the trading system. You know what zones are. So remember, these are the resistances that are at the top. Obviously, if the price rises, it will be found as resistance. These are from here and these are from here. If the price goes down, the possible supports would be this and the last job. So we already have what the people point areas are, which are Saxon areas calculated by funnel. Now we have the Elliott wave oscillator down here, which is like a lifetime Elliott wave oscillator. It has the exhaust bands, that is brand. Obviously the wave count was in EN in the histogram. Is the histogram that you see here what tells the shadow. The gray bands that they have above and below are the escape zones. Obviously, when that zone breaks, it refers to one-to-one impulsive movement, not that it has an impulse, and then it is counted as a wave. For example, this would be a wave 1, the retreat wave 2 or B. That's why I mark it here. We have 1A. What corresponds to this? 2 or B, which corresponds to this, and 3 or C, which also marks it here and corresponds to this. And now we are going to see it. So, well, we have the A or D or oscillator with the escape bands and also with a small aggregate, which is that it tells you what wave you are currently on, for example, or what potential wave the AWE oscillator is counting on. for example, in this one at this moment appears in blue. That is it is marking that it is wave 5 al fixed because it is having divergence of the end of movement and because it has already had the previous incursions. No, this is always here. This system is used having a little knowledge of what is Elliott waves and BCY system. Otherwise, if you don't know it, if you haven't studied it, whatever it is, let me know that I'm making a small guide, a small one, a very quick little course on how to do wave counting and how to operate a trading system based on them, because you have to know a little bit of waves also here. We are not going to make a count of 1, 12, 3, 4, 5 waves here. We are simply going to operate the backward impulse 1, A, B, C up and B, C down. And now they are going to see how they mark the boxes. Yes, the boxes you are seeing here. The yellow ones are primary targets of what would be the minor wave. I mean, there are major waves and minor waves. Yes, so of the lower grade, yes, the lower grade targets are going to be painted yellow, and the higher grade targets are going to be painted gray. What does this mean? That we, within an impulse, can have an impulse of 1, 2, 3, or ABC of a lesser degree, and know that ABC, for example, in this fall of Bitcoin corresponds to an impulse wave only one of a greater degree. But since this is based on fractality, remember, Elliott is based on the fractality of the market. Within this impulse, we have 123 impulses, where 1 is the first pulse, the correction, and the last pulse, which is wave C or 3, for example. And we are talking about the same journey. What happens is that there are two ways of seeing it. The one of greater degree, which corresponds to a greater temporality or precisely 1-0 of greater movement, and the one of lesser degree, which is A, B, C, E, happens within the same day. Let's say no, that is, then it operates intraday, and here we are seeing. So how does this work? This depends on the temporality in which you operate. Are you high or low temporality operators? If they are of low temporality, what they are going to do is lean on the pivot areas. Yes. So every time the price touches a pivot zone, that is, the price oscillates in the range of the day, the red zones. There are going to be potential supports. For example, here it made support. It bounced to the other red zone. Let's not say to the resistance, sorry, to the internal support. The price went down, did not go down to the external support, rebounded to the internal support, and went down again, making wave C or 3. So what the trading system does is take the momentum. It marks it and labels it as 1 or A, and then backwards if it meets certain characteristics. For example, in this case, we are going to expand it. In this case, it had a setback of approximately 60% if we take the setback. The setback marks us up to 61.8%. So it had a boost, a setback of 61.8%, that the program automatically calculates and sees the wave and labels it for you. That is, this tells you this is 1, 1 or A, labels you that this is 1, 2 or B, so that after this impulse, you can operate the one that comes, which is the important one. And the important one is this fall. What's important about this fall? So if the program labels you 1 or S, this will not be painted at the moment it happens. Then go back to the other zone, and on top of that, it coincides with 61.8%. When the price starts to break down or even makes a new low, it depends on how risky they are or not, but once the price is made, the pullback. And it starts to go down. The system already paints the target areas, then the target areas, the day take profit areas, or the areas where we have to make a profit. It's this first zone and this second zone. And look how it arrives. That is, the first one passes it by, the first target acquired by the rest, and the second also, even in the tolerance zone, because it is also marked in a tolerance zone. The boxes are sized on purpose because it marks approximately a time range. It marks a time range. There are times when this is fulfilled well, and there are other times when it is not. For example, this box, these boxes here were not fulfilled because the price went back again. No, they were also fulfilled. Later, why? Because the price went down. I'm going to mark the price. He went down. He went back to the pop, to the checkpoint. And here he started to mark the boxes. And the boxes are well marked. The problem is that the price returned to the checkpoint and marked them again here. Once it marked them a second time, here it was fulfilled. So the charges were fulfilled. Let me explain. So it is also about seeing a little what the market is doing, because the market can have two setbacks, not within the same movement. And the box that appeared here appears here, but it was still felt. The equally important thing is to try to capture the most neat movements possible. For example, what you mark as a 1A wave. Here in Elliott wave oscillator, it is marked well as 11A. They do not see this movement. It is a wave 1 or A, the retreat into the escape bands, which is a retreat of wave B. That is, it is a corrective impulse. It's not a directional wave pulse. So if here we have the direction marked 1A and here we have 1B, that is, just looking at the oscillator, we go to the graph and see that here we have the momentum to an area. The retreat towards the next zone and coincides with the 2 or B when the price starts bearish again, and here it breaks the escape band. Here you can now put a train in quite logical. Why? A pretty high probability of doing everything. Why? Because you have Lillard boys, slow bones making waves. Do you have Jackson zones or Fibonacci zones in your favor? The momentum that is being marked by the zigzag, that's the indicator that I have, which I am obviously providing, marks the waves automatically so that it is even easier. But it depends on seeing the lines. You can see the impulse, the pullback, and how the next impulse forms. And not only that, but they also have the boxes target box number 1, target box number 2, and target box number 2. On top of that, it's against another sack zone. So this trade could begin in this area when the price begins to be new minimums in the candles, or even when it makes the first breakout, sorry for the escape bands, for example here. Then this candle here would practically be like here when the price makes a new minimum, and having a target in the next exact zone. And it matches the box. That's a quick explanation of, let's say, in about 13 minutes, I'm going video of how to use this system. This system is basically that. It marks supports and resistances, having the supports in red, the resistances in green, and the control point. The control point is in purple. The middle part of the price is not. It is the easiest to calculate. Then the others are calculated by Fibonacci. They have the supports and resistances of the day. That is, that can even be used as, for example, here. Here the focus was resistance. Here this was the support that marked the setback within the day, and then once this support was broken, it went until the next one the next day. Now, how did it keep going, for example? Once this, it is a bearish scenario. All this we saw a low momentum. Now we are going to see one bullish. So here, for example, they have a momentum that is bullish, and it is 1, or what is here. Then they have the setback that leans against an area. Yes, it is the last zone of the second support zone. And the program is automatically marked for us, automatically marks the afternoon areas here as the tolerance zone is not so here as in the tolerance zone of the last support. It does not give them the calculation to mark a box. What we can do is I can also pass it on to those who acquire the indicator, the MOOC, whatever the stop is, to draw the target manually. We draw the target manually and see how taking this momentum with this pullback marks the target zone to where it is practically seen. And that is where the price stopped. And that is where the price stopped. Obviously, that this can be a move means they are an acronym for greater break. Yes, so move is equal to major break. So what does this mean? That the price, what you can do is get to this area and exert resistance and go down or directly break them and with force. I think now, but hey, it doesn't matter. The goal of the video is to show you how the trading system works. So if you don't have the box you need, which the price tolerance zone doesn't give you, what you can do is change the tolerance zone. I try not to touch it too much to always have a consistent tolerance zone value. And neither is the entire graph painted with resistance and supports, which is not the idea either. The idea is that there really is a calculated support and resistance, which is calculated in the hash area with the number of funnels and so on, and when they are missing a target. But they can identify an impulse, such as here that the price did not make a new minimum, and the Ariat-Way oscillator marked the start of a one wave, in this case an A wave. Then it dialed back and redialed a boot that is not wave 3, but it was a boot after the boot back. If you don't have the box you need, I will pass it on to you so that you can make the MOG automatically and put it on here. So here, for example, it does give you the target of this impulse. However, we continue with this trading system, which also marks it quite well. For example, he took within this higher degree wave, because we have, remember, here we have a higher degree wave that is gray. They are always the ones that go gray. Here we have another higher degree wave that goes gray. But within this wave that appears to be a pullback, we have a lot of lower grade and lower grade waves. He took this ABC with 49.50% setback, almost 50% setback, and it automatically marked this box and this box here, that one has already been met and the target has been met, obviously almost immediately, and the second one is still missing, but it is practically about to meet it. Likewise here he marked a gray wave of a greater degree, another against pop, with a 56% decline. So if we then grab the tool, this high, they will see that it marks the exact Fibonacci retracement. So it has 56.40% retracement against pop. And here it marked the box for them. Then it marked the box for them. And even the pop went directly towards the box. The target was fully met. He met this target here. He met this target here. The bearish target. This one was fulfilled, this one was fulfilled, and this one was fulfilled, and these here that were not fulfilled. In reality, they are placed here because the price made another setback against him. That is why he recalculated them. But then he met this target. He met this target, he met this target, he met this target. He did not meet it because the price has not yet reached that area. But then he dialed this target here, and he met it again against the area. So it's a very good tracking system that they can use. I am showing it in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is an asset that is fashionable, and the matter is operating now. But I show it here to show one. But actually, they can go to what would be the, for example, the US 500, which is the Standard and Poor's 500, And they also have a system that plots automatically. They can go to the NASDAQ, and they also have the system that automatically protects itself. They can use it, I don't know, in action as intraday envy. You can also do it in whatever you want, like downtown futures. All the assets that you can float in TradingView is where you are going to have the system. Well, this trading system is quite useful. It can be used intraday. It can also be used daily. If you pass the daily graph, it also marks, for example, here it marks you, obviously, in which wave they are in. For example, in this case, in Bitcoin case, I marked their targets here and here. In fact, it hit the target almost perfectly here, and then made an end of move divergence. And then he made this drop in Bitcoin from the area of from the area of from the area of 71,000 to 57,000. So it is a quite useful system. You can use it on a daily basis. I recommend using it intradaily and well anything. If you want to acquire it, you have the links in the video description and ways to acquire it. The two ways to acquire what I'm going to give you, if you are a little more interested in continuing to upload videos here, this system, tell me. I send you a hug.